On May 8, 2026, the United States government did something it had never done before. It opened the files. Not all of them. Not yet. But for the first time in history, the Pentagon published a collection of declassified documents, photographs, videos, and military reports about unidentified objects in restricted airspace, and made them available to any member of the public with no security clearance required. 162 files, spanning 80 years, from 1944 to last year. And what is inside them is not what most people expected. The release came through a newly created government website called Pursue, the Presidential Unsealing and Reporting System for UAP encounters. It was ordered by President Trump in February of 2026 and described by the Pentagon as only the first tranche. More releases are already scheduled. The government has now confirmed publicly that this process is ongoing, that what came out on May 8th is the beginning, not the end. So what is actually in the documents? The files include internal military memos, State Department diplomatic cables, FBI reports, NASA records, astronaut transcripts, and infrared photographs taken by United States military systems. Some date back to Cold War-era Germany and the Soviet Union. Others are from as recently as September of 2025. Several patterns emerge immediately when you read through them. First, the sightings cluster around military operations. A disproportionate number of reported encounters occurred near active military sites, restricted airspace, and nuclear facilities. This is not new information to researchers who have followed this subject for years, but it is now official. It is in the government's own documents. Second, the sightings are global. State Department cables in the release include diplomatic reports from Papua New Guinea, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Georgia, Mexico, and Tajikistan. A 1994 cable from the United States Embassy in Tajikistan described a commercial airline pilot and crew reporting a strange object at 41,000 feet. The date is 1994. The cable is real. It is now declassified. Third, some of the objects described in these documents do not behave like anything currently in the United States military's known inventory, or in any publicly acknowledged foreign military program. One file describes an object witnessed by a U.S. military operator over Africa in 2025, filed under the heading Unresolved UAP Report. Unresolved. That word appears repeatedly throughout the release. Not explained, not identified, unresolved. There is an FBI composite sketch in the documents. It shows what a witness described as an apparent ellipsoid bronze metallic object that materialized out of a bright light in the sky, estimated between 130 and 195 feet in length, and then disappeared instantaneously. The FBI took that report seriously enough to create a composite sketch. That sketch is now public. One of the most recent images in the release is an infrared photograph taken by a U.S. military system in September of 2025, 7 months ago, over the western United States. The Pentagon and the FBI have jointly confirmed the image is real, that it was captured by a verified military system, and that the object in it remains unidentified. Unidentified. In 2025, over the continental United States. Now here is where it gets complicated. The public reaction to the release has been deeply divided. Some researchers who have spent decades pushing for exactly this kind of disclosure say the files contain material that has been circulating in paranormal communities for years, that some of what was released is not as new as the Pentagon is presenting it. Others point out that the very existence of this release, the fact that the United States government has now officially published a dedicated website for UAP disclosure, with confirmed plans for ongoing releases, represents a fundamental shift in how the government is treating this subject. Whatever you think the objects are, the government is no longer pretending they do not exist. And that is genuinely new. For 70 years, the official position of every administration was denial, deflection, and classification. Project Blue Book was closed in 1969. For decades after that, anyone who reported a sighting was dismissed. Pilots who reported encounters were told to stay quiet. the subject was treated as the territory of conspiracy theorists and people who were not to be taken seriously. That position is now officially over. The question that every person watching these developments has to sit with is the same question the Pentagon's own documents leave open. If these objects are not from any known military program, American, Russian, Chinese, or otherwise, then what are they? Where are they from? Who or what is operating them? And why have they been appearing consistently and repeatedly near the most sensitive military and nuclear sites on Earth for over 80 years? The documents do not answer that question. They just confirm that the question is real. The next tranche of files is expected in June of 2026. What it contains and what it does not contain will tell us a great deal about how far this process of disclosure is actually intended to go. Until then, the files are public. The website is live. And for the first time in history, you can read what the United States government actually recorded when its military personnel encountered something in the sky that they could not explain. Make of that what you will. All details in this video are based on verified official government releases.